I'm here. Can't see me, but I'm here.
There's two of us.
Perfect.
Oh, there's Nick.
So
Well, I hope we get one more commissioner.
I just talked to Mark not too long ago, and he said he knows about the meeting.
Oh, good.
Oh, you know what? I am gonna try and send him the link. He said he might not be able to get on because he's at the lake. So let me send him this really quick. Maybe that's what is his issue.
And Bob wasn't planning on being here because he has another conflict, but he said he'll be by his phone if we need to call him the event of the lack of quorum.
yeah, city beach around there.
She said she would be zooming in.
Either rain or sleet or snow. I'll be here.
Kind of a model that you might.
Yeah. Well, I said we didn't do, no, we didn't do snow days. So it's just, it's gonna be a lot more day at work.
Hey, Commissioner Birk, it's 4. Did you get my voicemail?
I've been out all day. I don't know. You want to tell me or should I just look for it?
No, I've caught a flu bug, so I was gonna suggest we reschedule our meeting tomorrow.
Okay, I'll call you and we'll figure something out.
Okay.
I'll think about Thursday or Friday.
Um,
I'll call you.
okay.
On New Year's Day, you were meeting?
That's
There he is.
It's an open day, see. And when you're semi-retired too, it's kind of always. We're gonna be born, so,
So Mark is here,
okay.
but you think Cindy's coming too?
That's what she had indicated when I spoke with her yesterday.
We're just gonna wait for a couple minutes for Cindy, right?
Yeah.
It's up to you guys. We got 3. We have quorum, so it's up to you.
Was Jay coming?
Jay is coming, he's en route, and so he has supporting documents for us as well, so.
So we just, can we radio or should we wait? We can do the radio part 1.
Oh, yes, we can do them on order here.
So should I start? Okay, we'll call the county commission meeting to order. Ms. Hagan, you're there?
I'm here.
Mr. Rusted, is that you?
Yes, this is me.
Okay, and is anyone else on the phone? As far as commissioners? Okay, and I'm here, so that's a quorum. Mr. West, we're gonna skip to the radios first while waiting for the engineer to come in. So if you want to go ahead and give a briefing on the approved county highway department siren radio replacement.
Will do. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Great. Yeah, so as far as our two-way radio system, I know this has been very casually brought up verbally at maybe 1 or 2 other business meetings or commission meetings, and Jana reminded me we did bring it up at our budget meeting back in May or June, of this year. We just didn't know where to go with the radio systems and what to do until just recently. And we were trying to figure out what the department needs were, and there was just so many unknowns until just recently. I got a quote from Stone's Mobile Radio to upfit our department with newer radios that would work with the new system coming out. Just for the board's reminders, our current analog system will no longer be functioning. I don't know if it's going to be later 2025 or in 2026, somewhere in the next year or 2, our current radio system will no longer be operable. So if we don't upgrade, we won't have a radio system. And I'll be honest with the board, there was some internal talk. Do we really need it? Don't we? It was pretty brief, and we came to the conclusion, yeah, we should have a two-way radio system. We do use them. And even this new system, I think we would use them even more because we have our own channel. Right now, we share channels with a lot of the school districts. So you know, guys get pretty frustrated hearing about where little Johnny's gonna go to grandma's house or whatever on the school buses. But anyway, so I got a quote from the radio of folks and it's quite substantial. Just the materials alone is $100,000, 99,588. And one of the reasons I haven't brought it to the board is because this is unbudgeted. We didn't budget for it but now we run into a problem where the reimbursement through the state of North Dakota, $1,500 radio, that ends in March. So if we don't act by then, we lose that reimbursement, which is a lot, which is basically half the price of the material cost. And I just found out, and the reason it's on today's agenda is just last week I found out that prices go up January 1. Shocker, right? So that's why it's on today's agenda. And I did visit with Commissioner Bierke about all this, but I thought it was best that the board would hear it as a whole because it is something unusual and different and change of it'd be a change for us. Now, Commissioner Bierke, yesterday I told you we had 54 radios in our existing system. And right after I got off the phone with you, I'm like, well, that can't be right. We're missing a bunch of stuff here. We actually have 94 radios in our current inventory. That's every single piece of equipment, every office, every auxiliary shop. And we also have 5 new ones on the shelf that were bought in 2014 that we've been using as spares. And it seems like every year we, 1 or 2 break and we replace them. And we have 15 old broken ones that are spare parts. That's part of the 94. So we figure there's roughly 74 in use. However, we don't feel we would need that many. Our proposal to consider would be a total of, what did I have? 38 radios we figured would be a pretty good fit for us, especially to start with anyway. And that is our core fleet. So our core fleet, it would be any piece of equipment we use to plow snow with, so all the motor graders, the plow trucks, the 2 new, including the 2 new trucks we have coming in 6 months. My pickup, John's pickup, the sign pickup, our mechanics pickups, our 4 tractors, our 2 wheel loaders. And then we had 4 handhelds. We thought that those 4 could really fill the gap. Instead of having one in every single piece of equipment that don't get used all the time, those 4 portable handhelds could fill that flexibility gap of if somebody needed a radio, they grab the handheld and go. So it'd be 38 units is what we're considering. Now the way, if we move forward with this, it would be the county would have to write a check for the $100,000. After the materials come in, so in a month or 2, when we get the radios and miscellaneous appurtenances, and then we submit that information to the invoices state of North Dakota, they'd reimburse us $57,000 back. Our net cost is $42,000 and change. Installation, I feel most of our installs can be done by our mechanics. However, if we did need help, and it's a fair chance we would need some help, but not all of it, just the way things go. If we have a unique problem, Stones Mobile said they could install all the radios for about $7,500. If we tally all that up, total county out-of-pocket cost is $50,000. $50,088.24 is our current estimate. Budget-wise, like I said, this wasn't specifically budgeted. So if we move forward, what we would do is we do have a radio line item in our budget. It's only a few $1,000, but we would overrun that and then rob Peter to pay Paul. So this would come out of our 2150 highway distribution, which I guess I didn't check our current balance in it right now. There's a few million in there, I think. So, but unless Debbie has that right in front of her, but I know there's plenty of money in there to cover it temporarily. I'd have to do my job, manage the budget and just underrun some other line items. Now I know our revenue is a little higher this year than what we had budgeted. So there is some funds available if we chose to do this. So I guess my request is that we move forward. We feel that it is important. There is an emergency management response component to this as well too. besides the day-to-day uses that our department would use for communicating. I don't know what I left out here. Any questions?
Okay, if there's no questions, I would need a motion to approve the County Highway Department siren radio replacement.
I'd move
Yes.
approval.
Second, motion. Go
Oh,
ahead.
Sorry.
Mr. Members of the commission, if you do make the motion, will you also in your motion include a $50,100 budget amendment for the 2025 budget for 2150?
Yes, I will move my motion to amend the budget for the 2025, excuse me, in 2025 for the 2150 Highway Distribution Fund for $50,100.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, there's no one left to vote opposed, so passes 3-0. All right, thank you. Next item, we're going to talk parking ramp, ARPA funds.
Thank you, Commissioner Bierke, Commissioner Haig, Commissioner Rusted for putting this together for us. I came to you on December 17th for the request for the allocation of the ARPA money. The rules got changed on us after that allocation was approved. Debbie Nelson and Ms. Wamstead have done some legwork on what the requirements were to be able to allocate that money, requiring us to do some public quoting, get some concrete quotes from contractors for those necessary repairs. And with assistance from and A2S assisting and collaborating all of that behind the scenes with us, we have those numbers there. Instead of just that dedication of funds now before December 31st, we actually have to approve a contract with a contractor and the quotes that we have in place. And Mr. Clevin from the E2S and I did a bid document earlier today of quotes received from 3 out of 4 contractors that we entertained in the electrical work that has been deemed as necessary in the ramp to be done. And I'll invite Mr. Clevin to come up and talk on that bid tab document that we put together in the contract that he is recommending that we go with. It also includes Ms. Halverson's cameras that she has that we talked about adding in there and still being a cost savings from what the original change order would have been from RSI. So numbers came in very favorable for us for this work, and I'll let Mr. Clevin run with his recommendations and where the contract recommendation would be at. If the commission approves this, we need signature on that contract today, so we would have to have commission approval for Mr. Bierke to be the chair signature for that.
Okay. Mr. Craig?
All right, well, thank you for granting me the floor for a moment. I do have a bid tab. It's certified. I'll just, if there's a way to share it with our colleagues on the phone there. Good afternoon to everybody who's on the TV and the commissioner who's here. So as Bill said, we did do a quick solicitation of quotes, and it all came together pretty rapidly. But as Bill said, it looks pretty good. It actually includes work we're going to try to do under the current contract for the structural renovation and some additional work. Dollar wise, it's right near the estimate that I put together when we're first doing this through the structural renovation project. It's well below what we publicized as a availability of funding when we solicited quotes. And if looking at the bid tab, I'm gonna have to try to look at it on my phone. So if I'm squinting, bear with me. We did get, as Bill said, 3 bids were submitted, 2 of which were fully compliant with all the statutory requirements for the various certifications related to federal rules, since it's federally funded. The 3rd bidder didn't have those statutory requirements. So we did not open their second file that actually had the bid numbers. And the bid tabulation identifies that. I would not recommend opening that. Certainly as a commission, you do have some authority, if you will, to waive irregularities and proceed to open the bid. But I would not recommend we do so because we have two bona fide bids that did all the paperwork correctly. If we continue on that with the two bids, we identified the work in kind of two chunks. A lump sum number, which was very definable work, and then some work that's a little more nebulous, length of conduit, length of power conductors. That's all on a unit price basis. So on the bottom of the bid tab, you'll see three numbers. A total number, which is what is the basis of bid evaluation, then a lump sum number, and then a unit price work number. The sum of the lump sum and the unit price work should total out to be the total. And I did the math, and indeed, that's the way it seems to work. So just going and reporting on the total bid amount from Nate's Electric, $99,380. RBB Electric, $118,000 even. Both bidders are very reputable. Mr. Gershevsky's worked with both of them to some degree. Nate's probably a little less, but in doing some quick checking around the environment, nobody has a problem with them. Everything they've done has been satisfactory or better. So there's no reason not to take them as the best, most responsible bidder at this time. All of them had just a stated completion date. So that wasn't the basis of bid evaluation. On prior bids, we do often ask the bidders to submit their best schedule, assuming it's compliant with certain deadlines and milestones of your organization. On this one, we didn't do that. There really wasn't a necessary need to do that. There's really no market preference, if you will, for the schedule for this kind of work. So final completion 11 July 2025, which is concurrent with the touch-up work on the structural renovation project. So with that, and also you'll know Century Electric was invited, but because of various constraints on time and this and the other thing that they dealt with, they were not able to submit a bid. Interested in the work, but just everything's, we get sometimes just don't have time. So they weren't able to submit a bid. But we have two very good bids, well below the established funding limit, within the engineer's estimate for this work. And with that, I would recommend awarding the contract to Nate's Electric. That would be the recommendation of the commission.
Okay, I have well, first, Ms. Hagan or Mr. Ruster, do you have any questions?
Yeah, what did you say was missing from the bid that was not unsealed?
Yeah, because there's federal money, and this is carried over language from when we did the structural renovation. Any bid's required to have a certificate of good standing with workers' comp, and that was not submitted. There had to be a non-collusion affidavit, which was not submitted. A certification of debarment, or more accurately, lack of debarment, that was not submitted. And the last one was an anti-lobbying certification, basically saying they're not lobbying to get preferential treatment. So none of those four were submitted. And because 3 of the 4 are tied to the source of funding, they're just statutorily non-compliant.
Okay,
So
this is far beyond not dotting an I. So, okay,
Yes.
thank you for that.
Yeah, this is beyond minor irregularity or a Scrivener's error, or anything minor like that.
Thanks.
I just have one question on this. I can't remember the number. I think it was like 188 something.
185.
Okay, 185. That's why you're in charge of it. I was close though. So this would come out of that, and then the rest of it is also Has that been designated? So so what's gonna happen to that? Okay,
So if we, as this is a renovation project,
right,
this was additional work that was identified in this renovation project because of unseen as when demo work has been done and coming into there. This is what's identified now. If we found more, could there be a change order that would come to a cost change proposal or additional work? There could be. Is that the rest of that funding available to us in a change order proposal ability? That I'm kind of asking that question to Ms. Wamstead.
okay, that's what I was, trying to get at. So where are we at?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, that's a very valid question and we have discussed this possibility. The requirement for the federal funds is that it's to be obligated by today. However, an obligated means a signed contract obligating us to pay that amount. But if there is a change order that fits within the same scope, that's discovered after today's date, so long as it's under the scope of a contract we're already bound to, then we could use those funds to meet the needs of that change order.
Okay,
So I think it would be wise to retain those funds in the event that there is a change order on this contract or other contracts that we've allocated ARPA funds to.
okay, so whatever contract that's involved with ARPA that is still being worked on, we're gonna have rounded off approximately 86,000 available. We could then go back to use that money as long as we have a contract with ARPA funds involved, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And there are a few other scenarios, like, for example, if a company we contracted with went out of business, we could rebid that project. And those funds would be available in case the next bids came in higher or something like that. So that there are a few exceptions on specific scenarios like that where we may need to use those funds.
Okay, so then you know that if we get a change order then for this, the ramp, well, that money will be available and whatever. Okay. So we need a motion, correct me if I'm wrong, we need a motion to accept the bid from Nate's Electric for $99,380. Is that correct?
And for your signature on that document.
Oh, and to allow me to take, the never could be replaced, Ms. Hagan's signature on the document. So I need a motion for that and a second.
I'll move that we accept the Nate's Electric bid of just shy of $100,000 and allow Terry Bierke to admirably fill in for Kimberly Hagan and sign the document.
All right,
I will second that.
all right,
Signature on professional services as well.
all right. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Over the discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I,
There are no opposed. Do we have anything else for the meeting for those two? We do, okay.
Yeah, and to go along with the construction contract, there's a notice of award and a notice to proceed. And they're kind of part and parcel with the agreement. They just basically are telling the contractor, hey, heads up, you're gonna get to work, start making plans, start encumbering your bond, start doing all that stuff. Those also would need signature, and I don't know if that's covered by the motion that was just made. If it's not covered, there'd need to be a motion to allow Mr. Bierke to sign these as well.
So I need a second motion.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll move-
The documents.
I'll move to allow Terry Bierke to sign any related documents to this project in Commissioner Hagan's absence.
We have a motion,
and
second.
second,
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
I,
All right, no opposed. Anything else for the good of the order, or we do? All right. What's next?
That's the fun one.
Oh, okay.
So these are all new services for engineering work. And Bill and I have been talking about this over the last few days. To be under that same encumbrance of ARPA, the professional engineering amendment would also need to be signed. And by the way, all of this, I think the ink is still wet.
Well, the motion was to all related documents, so that would cover that too also. Or do you want a separate motion?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, for clarification, Ms. Nelson and I discussed this, and I don't think the professional services would fall under the ARPA funds, just based on the qualification. But we certainly could pass a motion to sign that as well. Obviously, Mr. Clevin has rendered services
Okay.
in the scope of this work, but it wouldn't be paid for by the ARPA fund.
Okay, so a motion to sign the professional services agreement, that's the title of it?
Amendment 1 to the engineering. Yes.
I need a motion to approve me to sign amendment number 1 to the engineering agreement. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, anything else then? Well, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
See you January 7th.
See you later.
See ya. Happy New Year.
We should do all meetings on the day of a holiday. Well, here they all are. It's $29,000 bill for the engineering work to date. And then instead of, we didn't have time to do drawings per se.
See you later, Nick.
We're gonna do all the drawings